Leading self means a whole lot of things to me. First, it is about understanding who am I, not just as a leader, but who is Lois Parkes? Who am I being? It is about understanding my emotions. It's about being very self-aware. I suppose you could describe it as being authentic, being an authentic leader. It's about understanding what are the things that motivate me, what gets me going, and what are the things that trigger me in a negative way, and understanding those things. Because I believe that once you understand who you are, what your emotions are, stepping back and understanding how am I acting, how am I reacting, then you can operate from a place of power. You have control over your thoughts, your actions, your decisions, and ultimately it is the most liberating thing when you can understand and lead yourself. Self-leadership is very critical for all leaders, but particularly for public sector leaders, and I will tell you why. We in the public service, whether it's at a national level in our respective Caribbean countries, whether we're talking about regional public services, the environment in which we operate can be described at best as being very turbulent. Change is the only constant in our environments. And so whether you're dealing with changes in our health status, changes in terms of new diseases coming on board that you have to contend with, whether you're talking about changes in the economy, local, Caribbean, global, whether it is about climate change, it doesn't matter. The environment is turbulent. And so the only constant you really have control over is yourself. You have to understand how the environment is impacting you as a leader, how it is impacting your stakeholders, how it is impacting your various relationships. You can only control how you choose to interpret the circumstances that are happening around you. You choose also how it is that you will react. And this is not just about being like a stone, unmovable, unshakable. And in some ways, yes, you need to be unmovable, unshakable. But it's also about change. It's also understanding the flexibility that you need to exercise in order to deal with, to adapt to the changing circumstances with some measure of success. And so if you don't understand yourself, you won't understand how the environment is triggering you. You're not going to understand your real reality. Do you really have the competencies to deal with these new pressures, these new demands? And it's only when you take that real, honest, good look at yourself, where you're at, what you bring to the table, that you can then adapt. You can then be open to changing your strategies. You can then be open to learning and garnering new skills. You can then look at even your old skills and how do you employ them in new ways. So it is absolutely vital in our public service environments that we have leaders who understand themselves and know how to control and how to lead themselves. Because ultimately, we cannot lead others if we cannot lead ourselves. It is very important that a leader helps the other leaders under their watch to develop their own self-leadership. Help your team to become authentic leaders in their own right. And I think that first, to develop this in other leaders, you have to model that behavior. Most of what I think I learned as a leader, I learned because I was able to observe other leaders in my world. And so you want to be the leader that they can observe and say, yes, I want to be like that. And it's important that you model that behavior, because there is a little point in telling people how you want them to be as leaders, and you are not doing that yourself. I mean, persons listen more to how you act as opposed to listening to what you actually say. So being a model of self-awareness, self-leadership, self-control is critical in developing that in your staff.